Right, let's learn about debugging commands with kubectl. So debugging is something that you should really know how to do to debug your applications, pods, and when things are not going right, how do you debug your Kubernetes cluster? Well, the first command I want to teach you is kubectl logs. So in here, we do have this pod, so kubectl get pods. So we have this pod right here, hello world, and it's running. Now, if I want to get the logs for it, I say kubectl and then logs and then the name of the pod. So the name of the pod is hello and then world. Enter and have a look. So this is logs coming from our container, which is really nice. And you can see that this is some Nginx stuff, right? So you can see here Nginx. Now this is a way of us getting all the logs, but if you want to basically follow the logs, you say -f, and you can see that now this is hanging, which means that if an event happens, then we get the logs right away. This is like tailing the logs, right? Now what I want to do here, I'm going to press Ctrl+C. And by default, remember, a pod is a collection of one or more containers. So we have one main container always. Now, if you have multiple containers, so in here, so let's just say kubectl and then describe and then pod, hello, and then world. And if I scroll up in here, you see that we have containers. Right, so we have one container and it's actually called hello world. So here, let's just run the same command. So kubectl logs, and then the name of the pod is hello world, and I can say, let me just clear that, -c for container, and then hello world. Enter, and you can see it's the exact same thing. But because I only have one container in my pod, this is the exact same command right here. Whether we have this or whether we have this is the exact same command. Because remember I said a pod is a collection of one or more containers. So if we had a second container, so here I'm going to say code and then pod.yaml. There we go. It's just bringing VS Code. And let me just, for now, let me just close this. So here, containers, right? So let's say that we have a second container in here. So let me just Command-C there. And in fact, this should be like this. So there we go, just like that. And then hello world. And then here I'm going to say hola and then mundo. And the container port is 80. And if I save this and then go back to my terminal, and in here cube and then ctl and then apply -f and then pod.yaml, and we have an error and it says this is actually forbidden, so pod updates might not add or remove containers. So let's just say cube ctl delete and then pod hello and then world, or we could just say -f, so delete -f and then pod.yaml. There we go. And if I press Ctrl+Z in there and let's say apply instead of delete, there we go. And now we have two containers inside of that pod. And if I type logs, so here, hello world, you can see that, have a look, a container name must be specified for pod hello world. Choose one of hello world or hola mundo. So this is because we have two containers. So -c and then hello dash and then world, or hola dash and then mundo. And there we go. So this is actually giving us an error because port 80 it's already in use, but you get the gist. And in here, if I open up VS Code again, and then let me just delete this second container in here, and later you'll see how we're going to use multiple containers. But I just wanted to show you with logs that if you have multiple containers, then you have to specify the actual name in here. So save this, and let's just delete the pod. There we go. Control Z, and then let's apply again. And if I say get pods, whoops, there we go. We have one pod running in here. So this is how you basically get the logs. Next, let me go ahead and show you how to exec into the container itself.